Okay. All right. Well, this is Jeannie from Trendy Tree, and I did start. I'm still just a couple of minutes early, but we had gotten this new Archon camera mount today, and I'm using that with my iPhone, and I have my iPad out here where I can see the comments, so I can read. So hello everybody. I won't try to say hello to everybody by name because it would just take too long to say all the hellos. So I just thank you for dropping in, and if you would, put your where you're from out there, and if you have a business, put your business link out there. Don't just give your name, go ahead and give your whole link. We like to, it helps us put our customers' names and businesses together. So let's do that. Carrie's at the shop. Hey Damon, thanks for dropping in. And also, if you would share this link with your friends, I'd appreciate it very much. I don't know, I hope my setup is working okay. I thought that I would zoom in on my space so you could see what I was doing. Maybe a little closer up, and it may be too close up, so I don't know yet. I'm also doing this at my home. I said I wasn't going to do that because it makes such a mess, but the shop has just gotten so busy and everything is just so crowded there. It's just quieter and it's just easier for me to work from home. Carrie may drop in. She's at the shop right now. She and David are doing orders, so she may leave and run over here and help, or she may thank you Damon for sharing. Appreciate that. If you would share our link with your friends, we would appreciate that. Today I'm going to use this new flower center, and the number on this, I'll give you these numbers as I go. MD037009, and it's just made out of styrofoam, and it's kind of a grassy like material. And I'm also going to be using a 24-inch work wreath, and the burlap is a 12-inch orange burlap, and the number on that is RK911720. And Carrie's going to throw some links out there for you as she gets a chance to. And I did some green burlap, and I didn't bring that roll. I can't tell you that number, but Carrie can do that for us. And we're going to start out. I just wanted to show you what the burlap looked like on a roll. And this is called loose weave burlap, and that's another word for saying cheap burlap. But it is color fast. Now, color fast means a lot of different things to different people. It will fade eventually, but it is color fast, so it should last better than just some burlap. We're going to start out. I went ahead and cut my burlap pieces. Of course, this burlap is 12 inches in width and 10 yards in length. I went ahead and cut the pieces of burlap 12 inches, so I would have a 12-inch square. And one thing that I did on the orange burlap, I did a little extra preparation on it. I haven't made a burlap wreath, so I really can't tell you how well it's going to work. I kind of worried that it might be a little soft. So what I did for the orange, that's going to be the petals, I sprayed it. I sprayed these. I sprayed the orange after I cut it with this, and I know my words will be right backwards to you. I haven't learned how to do that yet. But it's Elmer's Craft Bond Spray Adhesive. Now, this is something that if you want to try, I would experiment. It varies. The response that you get varies from one atmosphere to another. So I would just try that and see how you like it. But I did spray the edges, and then I just sprayed a light coat, and I let these dry outside. They do still feel a little tacky, but I just thought it might add a little extra body to those petals, and I thought I'd do that on the orange petals, but I didn't on the green for one reason. It was hot outside, and I got tired and I quit. And I thought, well, we'll just try the burlap and see how it works. But that's what I used in case, you know, you want to try that. But like I say, I would just experiment with it. When I have used this on paper wreaths, I have sprayed the petals after the wreath was done, but when you do, you have to be very careful to kind of lift out the petals so that they don't just all stick and mush down together. So I'm going to start. Oh, and another tip, when you are rolling off your burlap and cutting it, you know, the last few pieces that you'll get will be kind of wrinkly and kind of, you know, wrinkly, and you can iron them if you want to. I'm not going to. So you might want to start with the first rolls that you cut. So I'm going to make a petal, and the way that I'm going to do that is just lay the burlap down flat, and I'm just going to pull one corner in to the center and the other corner, and then just gather that up, and then I'm going to flip it over. And then I'm going to start on the outside of my work wreath. This is just an evergreen work wreath. It's a 24-inch wreath. Now, our 24-inch wreaths have, the largest metal ring is 15 inches. But with the addition of mesh and ribbons and so forth, you wind up with a wreath that's 24 inches or greater. Again, I appreciate it so much if you would share our video with your friends. I'm just going to put that petal in there and just kind of push the petals out toward the outside to kind of make a V. I'm going to put 2 petals in each twist. Now you can do the math. On a 10-yard roll of ribbon, roll of mesh, you should get 30 pieces. I think on the green I got 30, but on the orange I think I might have got a little less than 30. But I'm going to start out making 2 petals in each twist. On this 24-inch wreath there is 18 twists, so that's not going to be enough petals to put 2 in each one. So when I get down to the inner ring, I'll skip a few, and some of the twists will only have 1 in it. So it's no biggie one way or the other. It will not show. But I'm going to lay that second petal down, and I'm going to close that twist. Now this time, push those petals to the outside. You want them to kind of make a V. Push them to the outside. This time, since I'm through with this twist, I'm going to poke that twist to the inside of the wreath, just to get it out of the way. We have the burlap in several different colors, and I'm just making the petals each one the same way. And again, I thank you so much for dropping in. All right, so I'm just going to continue to work around the outer ring. I'm just going to, when I secure one petal, I'm just kind of barely secure it, just maybe one twist till I get the second one made. I cut the burlap in 12-inch lengths. It's a roll of 10 yards. You don't have to have a tax number to buy from Trendy Tree K. We're retail. We sell to anyone. There are no minimums. So you can buy 1 or you can buy 500. How long did it take me to cut the burlap? Well, it didn't take long because I used a rotary cutter, which works fine on burlap. I did that at the shop yesterday. So to cut both rolls, it probably took 10 minutes, and then I just brought it out to the house with me. Someone had asked, how long did it take to cut the burlap? And then someone asked, do you have to have a tax ID number to buy from Trendy Tree? And no, you do not. We're a retail business. Tax numbers are not required. You don't even have to create an account. You can just always go through quick checkout, or if you would like to, if you plan on doing multiple orders and you want to keep a history, you can create an account and the website will keep up with your history for you. I'm sorry, I did not realize that, I hadn't noticed that making the petal was totally out of your view. Sorry. Someone is asking, I can't see you fold the burlap. Okay, so you just take the square and take a corner, bring it to the center, take the opposite corner, bring it to the center, flip it over, and then attach it to a twist. And on this outer ring, I'm putting in 2 petals to each twist. Now, I cut up all the whole 10 yards of mesh, but now that won't be enough to put 2 petals, 2 green petals in each twist. We'll have plenty of orange, but when I get to the center ring of the 24-inch wreath, I'll have to drop down and do 1 petal in some twist. Okay, thank you, Anne. Anne says we're great to do business with. We appreciate that. Carrie and David are doing a great job at Trendy Tree. In fact, they're up there working now, filling orders. Okay. We're just going to keep making got a few more petals to make to go around this outer ring. And you know, burlap, this is not shedding too bad. You know, burlap does shed. And sometimes, you know, you can kind of be overcome with the burlap smell. I'm not noticing that on this. I have 3 more twists to complete on the outer ring, and then we'll move to the inner ring. But I'm just taking a corner, folding it, putting it to the center, and then the opposite corner, and then pinching it up, turning it over, securing it in a twist. Brenda is asking, is it 10-inch burlap? It's actually 12-inch. So I cut my squares in 12-inch pieces. It's 10 yards to a roll. And we have it in, gosh, Carrie will have to tell us, lime, orange, yellow, fuchsia, blue, several different colors. And again, if you'll share our link with your friends, we really would appreciate it. You know, the Facebook algorithms, you know, engagement is so important. And, you know, when you just drop in and like something, that's okay, but engagement is so much better if you make a comment of some sort. So we appreciate, you know, any comments that you could make. Yes, Teresa is asking, can you do this with poly mesh? Yes, we've done this same wreath tutorial with paper mesh, poly burlap, and just regular deco poly mesh also. I'm on the last twist on the outer ring. And I know from my camera angle you won't be able to see the whole thing, but I'll move it a little bit later. Thank you for sharing, Lisa. I'm going to put this one on my front door. We've been in our house about 3 months now, and I've had that lemonade wreath on the front door all this time, so I'm gonna swap it out and put this one. Someone is asking, the video will be up, it'll be on Facebook, and you can watch it later for sure. Now, I'm ready to move to the inner ring, and I have 8 twists on the inner ring, so I don't have enough to put 2 ruffles in each twist, so I'm just going to start out with one petal, not a ruffle. I'm just going to start out with 1 in each twist, and then when I see what I have left, I'll add in the extra just to use up all the burlap. No need in having a few pieces left over. This is middle of the week. Let me know if you're working on something today, or some of you I see are at work and maybe on your lunch break. Hey, and don't be surprised if my husband doesn't come bounding in shortly. He's been outside washing windows, and goodness knows I didn't want to interrupt him from doing that. Thank you for sharing, Diana. I'm Just working around the inner, putting the leaves on the inner layer, inner ring. And this is burlap that's 12 inches in width and 10 yards in length. So I cut my pieces 12 inches in length. Yes, we have, Kirsten is asking, did we have any poly burlap in? We do. Several new colors came in, or several colors that we already had came in, I think, last week. And we still have more to go. Susan is asking what kind of flower. It's just a flower wreath made out of burlap. My front door, someone is asking what color is my front door. It's a dark chocolate brown. So this will show up good on it. And I'm just putting one petal in the twist on the inner ring till I see how many pieces I'm going to have left over. Someone is asking, does the burlap bleed or run if it gets wet? You know, it's advertised as color fast. This burlap came from Craig Bachman, and I know Craig personally, and we've been asking Craig for colored burlap for quite a while, and he had some, but it did not hold up to suit him. He's pretty picky about stuff like that. And then now he has this that's called Color Fast. Now, I'm sure it was still going to fade. Anything that you put out in the sunlight for a long period of time is going to fade. It's going to ravel. I mean, it's a loose weave, so it's going to ravel, and it will fade. In burlap, you know, if it gets wet, I'm sure it'll get soft. This is not real stiff, and I know you can't see the whole wreath, but I've gone all the way around the outer ring with 2 petals, and I've gone around the inner ring with 1 petal, and I have 2 pieces left. So I'm going to just make 2 more leaves, and I'm going to open up a twist and put it in a twist, and then I'm going to move on to the orange. Just to use up my burlap. Use up my lime. And someone is asking for instructions. I will do a corresponding blog post along with this, and I'll also, it will be on Facebook for you to watch later, and the blog post will be on the Trendy Tree blog, and you can refer back to that. Now, the next thing I need is, someone is asking, can you use regular fabric, like 100% cotton or cotton blend? I've never made a wreath with fabric. My first thoughts would be that the fabric would not be thick enough, but now I've never tried that. So I guess it just depends on what sort of fabric you get and the texture, if it's very stiff or not. Someone is saying that the burlap wreaths are pretty, but they'll sag in no time. You know, it just all depends. Depends on how much moisture gets to it, how much weather. Someone is asking, can you use 21-inch mesh? I wouldn't advise 21-inch because the more cuts that you have in mesh, the more raveling you would have. So you would have to split, you know, the 21-inch and then cut it into 10.5-inch pieces. So, you know, I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't do that. I would just use 10-inch. And of course, this burlap is 12-inch. So the next thing I want to do is take my 10-inch wreath, and our 10-inch wreath actually does measure 10 inches. I've got an orange one, and I'm going to take a couple of zip ties, and I'm going to just secure it right in the center of the wreath. I'm going to push my iPad off here. But I've got a couple of zip ties, and I see I didn't get enough out, so I'm going to start I'm just going to start with a zip tie around the wreath. I'm not going to pull it tight. I'm just going to secure it a little bit and put one on the opposite side. I never put zip ties on the right way. I can't. I'm using my new Archon mount, and I've got it up as high as it will go, so I can't back off any further, you know, and be able to film straight down over the wreath. Someone had asked about UV protector. I have not, you know, done anything like that. And I did, when we get to the orange, I did spray the orange squares with Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive. I sprayed on the edge, and then I did a light coat over the whole square, just to say, you know, to make it, give it a little more texture and make it a little stiff. I would advise you to just experiment with that. You might like, that might work fine for you, but depending on where you're located and the weather that you have, you could wind up with a sticky mess. So just experiment with it and see what you think about it. I'm going to take 2 more zip ties and secure the wreath in 4 places. The 10-inch wreath onto the 24-inch. I'm not pulling the ties tight yet. I'm just securing them kind of lightly. Then when I get them all attached, I'll go back and tighten them up. Someone is asking, can you spray clear coat on the burlap? You know, I've never done that, so I just don't know. It would just strictly be experimental. And there may be some other folks here that have. And someone is saying that they use spray starch. Makes sense. Again, that would work probably if you're in an area that's not going to get much moisture. Now, once you have your 10-inch wreath secured to your 24-inch, I'm going to snip off those ends of those zip ties with wire cutters. Okay. All right, so now I'm ready to move to the orange. And like I say, on the orange, I did spray the edges and I did a light coat all over the whole square just to see if that would stiffen it up a little bit, making the petal the same way. I did this yesterday, and you know, it still feels a little tacky to me, but I mean, you know, it's okay. I'm gonna attach the petals the same way. I'm just gonna kind of lightly attach one first. I'm gonna squeeze it together and point it outward, that away. Someone is asking what size is the larger wreath. It's a 24-inch evergreen work wreath. Someone is asking if I have rheumatoid arthritis. No, I'm just old. I'm putting 2 petals in each twist. And then I push the petals together and push them to the outside. Now when I'm finished securing those 2 petals, I'm going to take those twists and tuck them to the inside of the wreath. Just keep moving around. We'll clip the strings when we're done. It seems like I'm a little bit out of focus there. I hope that my internet is lagging a little bit. I mean, you know, if this drops, I mean, you know, just have to finish it up and show you the finished product. But make a petal, squeeze it together, push it to the outside. Hi, Farrah. Farrah says, I'm not old. I guess it's all relative, isn't it? All right, so 2 petals, just one right on top of the other. Just push it together in a V and just kind of push it toward the outside. Tuck the tails of the twist to the inside. And we just keep working around the square. Someone is asking what the size of the squares. This is 12-inch burlap. So I'm making a 12-inch square. Someone is asking, do we like our Archon mount? Am I saying it wrong? Is it Archon or Akron? Archon. Okay, I see Carrie. Maggie's on her way down here, so she'll be busting in the door any minute. Maggie's my 15-year-old granddaughter. Our house is right down the street from Carrie. Carol says she's the one that could be considered old. She's 63. Well, Carol, I have you beat. I'm 67. I have a birthday in November. The squares are 12 inches by 12 inches. The burlap comes on a 10-yard roll. So we have a little bit short. We didn't have enough to put 2 petals in each twist on the green because there's 18 twists on a 24-inch wreath. So we had, a few twists and only have 1 petal. That's okay. That's fine. And on our orange, we have enough to put 2 twists in each, 2 petals in each twist. And we'll have some extras that we can fill in some gaps with. Hey, none of us are old. Hey, my daddy is 96, so I've got good genes, maybe. I appreciate y'all dropping in today. And again, if you're just now joining us, this is Jeannie from Trendy Tree. Someone is asking how I put the 2 wreath forms together. I zip tied the 10-inch right into the center of the 24-inch. I put 4 zip ties. And again, I'll do a written blog post. Someone is asking, do I use the Pro Bow? Yes, I do. The size of the first wreath was 24 inches, and I'm putting I put two green petals in each twist. The petals are made from 12-inch wide burlap. Someone is asking, why do you have to spray it? You don't have to spray it. I just thought, burlap is a little soft. And I thought, well, I might spray it with that Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive just to see if it would stiffen it up a little bit. That's strictly just, experimental. You can just see how that does. You might try it if it makes a sticky mess in your climate. That's why you just should experiment with it. If you're just now dropping in, I'm making a flower wreath. All the supplies came from Trendy Tree. And we have burlap in several different colors. We have I used a pencil wreath. I like a pencil wreath when I'm doing something like this because I like to hide the ties. When we first, someone is asking, could you use a 2-tiered wreath? Of course, the pencil wreath that we use is 2-tiered, and then you stack the 10-inch on top of that, so you really got about 4 tiers. The first flower wreath that I ever made, I made on just a 24-inch wreath. I just put some leaves, I put some green on the bottom, and I came right back on top with some colored petals. And the only thing about that wreath that made it a little hard was the center of a 24-inch wreath is about 12 inches. So it was kind of hard to fill up the center. On a 10-inch wreath, the center drops down to about 7 inches. So it's a little bit easier to fill with something. I love the orange and green colors too. I'm going to put this wreath on my door. again, if you will, just, let me know where you're from. Put your business link out there. Someone is asking how long are the twists? The twists are already on the wreath forms. So, I don't know, each side of them is about, I don't know, 4 inches or so. Now, I've gone all the way around the inner ring of the 10-inch wreath with a petal in each twist. So now I'm ready to move. I'm sorry, with 2 petals in each twist. 2 petals in each twist, and now I'm ready to move to the inner ring. I know you can't see all that, but that's as high up as I can get my camera right now. Okay, if you're just now dropping in, I appreciate it so much. This is Jeannie. Trendy Tree is Carrie, my daughter, and Dave, my son-in-law's business. It's a website, and they sell all sorts of wreath making supplies, work forms, ribbons, mesh, burlap, and seasonal decorations. If you're just now dropping in, be sure and let us know where you're from. We're making a flower wreath using 2 different colors. We're using lime green, burlap, and orange. Hey, Carol Birchfield is watching. That's Terry's cousin. Thank you, Carol, for dropping in. The burlap is 12 inches in width. I cut the pieces in 12-inch squares. There's 10 yards of burlap on a roll. So now I'm working on petals on the inside, the inner ring, and I didn't attach that one very well. I'm just attaching that, kind of squeeze the petal and point it to the outside like a V. And I'm putting 2 petals in each one. And here comes Maggie. So I'm just making an orange flower wreath. And once I attach the petals, I squeeze them together, kind of point them to the outside, and then just kind of, once I'm finished with the twist, kind of poke it to the inside. To make the petal, I see we've got some first-time watchers. I just take the square, bring a corner to the center, bring the opposing corner to the center, and then pinch it all together, flip it over, and then put it in a twist. I just kind of lightly secure that first petal till I get the second one made. This is 12-inch burlap, and I cut 12-inch squares. We got people watching from all over. There's some Mississippi folks and out of the country folks. Texas, California, Tennessee. All right. Let me know where you're from. That's always so interesting. The center. Someone is asking what we're going to do for the center. I have a pre-made green styrofoam center that we're going to attach. Carrie is at the shop, or she would be here helping me. Fraying happens with all woven products. I mean, some are probably worse than others, but burlap does fray. Susan is asking, do we sell the centers? Yes. We have the green on the website right now. And I think if you can scroll back up, Carrie has probably posted the link. The number is MD037009. And we have more centers coming in, and we will have more centers a few months from now that will be different sizes. So you'll be able to, you could probably just get away with not using the stacked wreath method, where I have used one 24-inch and one 10-inch wreath. You could probably just use one 24-inch wreath, because some of the centers that we ordered are like 12 inches in width. So once I've attached both petals, I'm just pushing them together and kind of making a V and pointing them to the outside. And I'm pushing my twist to the inside. I'm down to the last twist on the wreath. So I'm going to put 2 petals in that, and then I'm going to fill in a couple of spaces with some extras. On a 24-inch pencil wreath, there are like 18 twists, so it takes 36 petals. You won't quite get 36 petals off of a 10-yard roll. You'll only get about 30. So some areas on that 24-inch wreath only had 1 petal, but it's not noticeable. Our 24-inch wreaths that we sell on Trendy Tree, the widest ring measures 15 inches, but with the addition of mesh and other products, you wind up with a wreath that measures 24 inches or greater. I'm going to have to hurry because it says my battery is going down. I should have checked that. But anyway, I know you can't see the whole wreath, but you can see it's pretty full. I've got 2 layers of green, and I've got 2 layers of orange, and I'm going to just kind of lay the center in there right now so you can kind of get a look of how that's going to look. And you can see I've got a few gaps. I'm going to take, you see that? I've got a couple of gaps. I'm going to take my extra squares and make a little pick. I'll try to do that if I try to show you that in case my battery goes down. But the way I'm going to attach the center, I put just a flower pick. I didn't have hot glue here at the house. If I'd had hot glue, I would put a little bit of hot glue. But I put a flower pick in that, and then I'm going to take a zip tie and just attach that to my inner ring. But I'm going to kind of hurry because I'm afraid my battery's going to go down. It took 2 rolls of burlap. I used 1 roll of green and 1 roll of orange. Now I'm going to show you how to make this extra pick in case my battery goes down. You make the petal the same way. Flip it over. I took a Q-tip, a chenille stem, and cut it in half. I don't have any orange ones. Orange would be the best to use, but you lay that right on top. I really need orange ones. And pull that around to the back. And just give that a twist. And you kind of made like a little pick. Kind of point that up like the leaves. And then I'm going to take that pick, separate it. I'm going to slide it right down on top of the metal ring. I'm going to reach in behind the wreath and secure that to the metal ring, to the inner ring. And any place that I have, it's kind of like a gap or a hole. Someone is asking what Trendy Tree is. Trendy Tree is a website. We don't have a brick and mortar store. It's Carrie and David Martin. Carrie's my daughter, David's my son-in-law. It's their business, and they ship all across the country and international. So that's how I filled in that gap, and I'm hoping when I put my center in there, it's going to kind of cover up that little white chenille stem. You won't see it once I get it on the door, but anytime if you have to use something like the white chenille stem, you can always take a dab of hot glue and come back and pinch those petals together to cover that up. So I'm going to make another petal or 2. This is some extras just to fill in a gap there. Make your petal, take your chenille stem and go right across the top. Floral wire even would be fine, and floral wire would not show. Give it a twist. Someone is asking to do anything to help with the fray. I did spray the orange with this Elmer's Craft Bond spray adhesive. It does make it a little tacky, but it does help with the fraying. But again, I would just experiment with that first on a product and see how you like it. You might, in your area, it may be too humid. This burlap was sprayed yesterday and it still feels a little tacky. So it just is strictly experimental. But you take your little pick of sorts Spread out those chenille stems and just lay it over the wire, and then reach in from behind and twist it onto the frame. And that's just to fill in a gap. And I think I will put another one right there. I've still got a couple of pieces of burlap left. And if my phone dies, y'all, just go back to the blog. I'll have that blog post written maybe sometime this afternoon. And someone is asking or saying it can get messy spraying the pieces. Yes, it can. And Sybil has said that if you cut your material with pinking shears, it will cut down on the fray. I haven't used those in a long time. I don't think I even have any. All right, I have one more place. I'm going to put another one right there. And I think I will have added about 4 extra petals at this point. Someone is asking what size are the squares. The burlap was 12 inches in width, so I made the squares 12 by 12. There's 10 yards of burlap on the roll. I'm gonna hurry, y'all. Okay, so now I have added extra petals just to fill in a little gappy areas on the inside. And now I'm gonna I tell you what, I'm not gonna take the time to attach the center. I'm just gonna kind of put it in here where you can see what this looks like. And then I will come back and attach that a little bit later, but I don't want my phone to die before I get through. Okay, I did 2 petals. It's a 24-inch wreath. I put 2 petals in each twist. Now, I did not have enough to put 2 petals in every twist, so there's about 4 twists of the leaves that only have 1 petal. And then I stacked a 10-inch wreath on top of that. A 10-inch wreath has 12 petals, and I put 2 orange petals in each twist, and then I filled in with a few more extras here at the last. And I have not secured the center yet. I will go back and do that, secure it with some zip ties. And these areas where I have a little white chenille stem showing that I didn't have any orange stems, I can pull that burlap together with a touch of hot glue and cover that up, or I can hang it on my door and it won't show. The center is made of styrofoam, and we have those on the website. So okay, I'm gonna sign off for now, and I'll post this. I'm gonna hang it on my door, and I'll post a picture of it. I'm gonna make a hanger for the wreath made out of chenille stems or zip ties, and you get a little glimpse of the back. I'm not going to do anything to the back of it. I always check the back of my wreath to see if there's anything that's going to be sharp that might scratch my door. So I'll do that before I hang it, and I'll clip the very loose strings. You have to be careful clipping, because if you're not careful, the more you pull, you just generate more strings. So I'll clip a few. Sometimes I don't even clip it until I hang it on the door itself. Okay, again, thank you so much for watching, and I will do a written blog post, and that'll be on the Trendy Tree website, and also we'll get this uploaded to YouTube. And thank you for dropping in. I appreciate it so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.